Every month, anyone with a menstrual cycle goes through the same basic hormone shifts. But for a small group of women, one particular week turns into 2 weeks of anxiety, rage, or a sadness that feels impossible to explain. For years, doctors could not figure out why the exact same hormones would do that to some women and not others. In 2017, researchers finally found a clue, and it was not where anyone expected. So let's break down what is actually going on inside the body during PMDD, short for premenstrual dysphoric disorder. 1. First things first. PMDD is not just a stronger version of PMS or premenstrual syndrome. It is its own diagnosed condition. Somewhere between 5 and 8% of women who menstruate experience it, and it is serious enough that it is classified as its own depressive disorder, not just a physical symptom. The mood symptoms typically start about 6 days before your period and hit hardest in the final 2 days, then fade once your period begins. 2. Here is the part that stumped researchers for years. Women with PMDD have completely normal hormone levels. Blood tests on women with PMDD come back looking just like everyone else's. In your ovaries, estrogen rises, then progesterone rises, then both drop right before your period. The same pattern as in anyone else's cycle. The difference is not what your ovaries are sending into your bloodstream. It is how the cells receiving that signal are listening to it. 3. So if the hormones are normal, what is actually different? In 2017, researchers traced it to a specific group of genes. They grew cells from women with and without PMDD in a lab dish and exposed them to the same hormones. In women without PMDD, a group of genes that act like a dimmer switch, turning other genes up or down, responded normally. In women with PMDD, that same dimmer switch reacted abnormally to the exact same hormone exposure. It is a bit like two houses receiving an identical key. One lock turns smoothly, the other jams every time. 4. There is also one specific hormone byproduct that seems to drive most of the symptoms. When progesterone breaks down, your body converts it into a substance that travels up into your brain and attaches to the same receptors that alcohol and anti-anxiety medication use, the ones that normally calm you down. In most people, that calming effect just quietly does its job every month. In women with PMDD, those same brain receptors appear to respond the opposite way, turning what should be a calming signal into one that fuels anxiety and irritability instead. 5. And one experiment settled the debate for good. Researchers used medication to stop ovulation completely in women with PMDD, essentially pausing the whole monthly hormone cycle. Their symptoms disappeared. Then when researchers reintroduced progesterone while keeping levels perfectly steady, no rising or falling at all, the symptoms came right back. That single result is why PMDD is now understood as a reaction to hormonal change itself, not to any hormone being too high or too low. It also lines up with something many women notice on their own. Symptoms often ease during pregnancy, when that monthly rise and fall pauses for months at a time. If this sounds familiar, PMDD is treatable. Doctors can diagnose it by tracking your symptoms over a couple of cycles, and treatments like certain birth control pills or SSRIs can make a real difference. So if you or someone close to you goes through this every month, it is not an overreaction and it is not a personality problem. It is a documented difference in how certain brain cells respond to a hormone everyone produces. Want to see how the same hormone, progesterone, shows up again later in life? Check out our video on perimenopause. We cover what happens when this whole system starts winding down for good. Does this sound like you or someone you know?